We're joined from Cairo by editor-in-chief of Al-Akhbar daily newspaper, Dr. Osama Saeed. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to Qnews. Let me here start by asking you, how significant is France's pledge to recognize Palestine at the UN General Assembly, and what impact could it have on the two-state solution?
Absolutely. The French resolution to opt the Palestinian status and a step in the right path, as France is a very important European country that has a great or a clear impact in the EU, as France to join by recognizing the independent Palestinian statehood is a great gain through the trajectory of the two-state solution. And that will be particularly before the Israeli actions against the Palestinians. Certainly, the French stance that would encourage other European countries to be on board in recognizing a very independent Palestinian state. In addition, that would represent a pressure to the Israel and along with its effort to abort the two-state solution. France has a very past supportive decision to Israel, and today is taken a very historical decision by recognition of Palestine that has a great impact in the international arena, along with the General Assembly of the United Nations, particularly that France is one of the 5 UN permanent members by taking an opt of taking the recognition of the Palestinian state, and I think it is a great win that we could build on it.
Now, what role is Egypt playing in mediating the Gaza ceasefire, and how is that being recognized regionally and internationally?
Absolutely. Cairo is taking a very important and significant role with this regard. Egypt had a very clear vision from the day one, as this crisis cannot be solved or resolved militarily. Military actions only would lead to more escalation. Therefore, Egypt from the first moment reaffirms the political solution and seriously to get engagement in negotiations. Egypt therefore plays several roles with this regard, particularly mediations with Qatar along with the US, and or to join with other powers to practice their pressure upon Israel by asserting to have a solution to end the war. But unfortunately, up till this moment, the Israeli reluctance, Israel's rejection in the last moment in reaching an agreement would disrupt in reaching a truce, and then would be having a renewed attempt to engage to other negotiations along with its support by the United States. Despite all these obstacles, Egypt is very much to insist to complete the trajectory of mediation and to call upon to the logic and wisdom in managing such a crisis based on a very solid belief by the Egyptian state that peace is the only real solution to the future of the region, and to ignite conflict and to engage in uncalculated military maneuvers are very much serious to threaten the Middle East. So they have no place to build a peaceful Middle East, but through ending the political or rather the military conflicts in the region.
Well, with Egypt's pushing with its humanitarian aid and aid starting to flow and resume through the Zakim and Karim Abu Salim, how does this make a difference on the ground in Gaza?
Absolutely. The humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip is very dire. Probably it is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world since the World War II. And even the Palestinian suffering is overwhelmed compared to what has been taking place in the World War II due to the siege in dealing with the Palestinian. Humanitarian aids by Egypt delivering to Gaza is only a drop in the ocean that's required by the needs of the Strip, but it's a very important initiative and a lifeline to deliver the Strip of the basic needs and to abet in lifting the suffering from the Palestinian people. Certainly, Egypt is very much realizing the significance of delivering such aid. Since the first moment is pressuring into the humanitarian aid, and we should remember the Israeli statement at the beginning of the crisis and following the October the 7th by vowing not to deliver or enter any sort of aid into the Strip. But thanks to the Egyptian effort, have managed to deliver such aid as it is not only a humanitarian right for the Palestinian people, but it is a means to support their resilience and to abort the Israeli schemes. In return, dedicated all the available sources, either from the land, the sea, and the air, to deliver the aid.
Then let me here ask you, sir, what are the main hurdles preventing sufficient humanitarian access into Gaza? Who's behind that? And of course, that is despite all the international appeals and Egypt's logistical efforts.
Absolutely, the Israeli rejection and reluctance is the main obstacle that hinders the delivery of such aid. Israel has several crossings linked to Gaza, but deliberately closing this crossing. In addition, that occupying the Palestinian side of Rafah crossing as the only and the sole crossing that Israel wasn't control its both sides. So it's trying to refrain all the means of delivering such aid. Certainly, delivering aid is a dire priority in this time where the residents of the Gaza Strip is facing a real genocidal war. So for the international community to pressure in adopting a very accredited mechanism with no interference by Israel, free lines should be provided to let the aid delivered throughout the Strip, not only through the areas controlled by Israel. And we've already seen the failed experience that Israel pursued to execute by the GHF that has been transferred to an instrument to collectively kill the people for those who are seeking to keep them alive or to maintain the minimum of the basic needs that would guarantee to have the life for the babies and civilians that they are suffering very systematic way by the Israeli occupation forces.
Right. Finally here, how do you assess the coordination between Cairo and Paris, particularly in balancing diplomacy with humanitarian priorities in the Gaza crisis?
Absolutely. There is a French-Egyptian coordination along with several European regional countries, as Egypt is believing, by building in a very strong front to exercise pressure and to put an end of the humanitarian deteriorations, as we've seen throughout the last visit of the French President Macron to Cairo, and as Egypt managed for the French President to Al-Arish, that managed him to explore the Egyptian effort to deliver such aid by meeting the Palestinian patients on their way to receive their medications by the Egyptian hospitals. All this would improve the humanitarian situation and to pressure upon Israel by easing the hinders played down by Israel, and delivering the aid should be the ultimate priority and shouldn't be projected by Israel to use its starvation as an instrument to pressure the Palestinians to go out of Gaza.
Well, that was Dr. Osama Saeed from Cairo, the editor-in-chief of Al-Akhbar daily newspaper. Thank you so much for joining us here on Qnews.